Hello again. This is going to be another touchy one. This is about the shallow people, or who they call shallow people, or the topic, you should love me for my mind. No, and that goes for both men and women. There's a saying in Eastern medicine, the only place the mind, the body, and the spirit are separate are in textbooks. How does that apply to what I'm saying? What I'm saying is relationships are holistic. They incorporate the entire person and therefore should be fulfilling to the entire person. And now I'm not saying that you should get everything you want in every aspect without one thing missing. And if you don't, you're out. But what I'm saying is that a relationship should be appealing to you on all levels. And let's flip it and act like it's not. Let's look at it like this. What if two people in a relationship and the man and the woman are together and the woman wants to be intimate and the man says, well, I'm not attracted to you or I'm not physically aroused by you, but I love you for your mind. Let's talk. Let's interact. Let's have some intellectual and spiritual discourse. Are you going to be happy? Of course you're not. And the flip side of it is the same. If a man was talking to a woman and the woman's like, well, I'm not physically attracted to you, but I love your mind and your spirit and what you bring to the world. So instead of having intercourse or being intimate with each other, let's just talk. Let's build conversationally. Let's get to know each other more intimately and spiritually. Let's not touch. No, that ain't working. Or what if two people are in a relationship and one doesn't ever seem really involved when it comes to affection? And I'm not just talking about sex, I'm just talking about kissing, touching, cuddling, all of that. Because they're not physically attracted to the other person. Because they're not excited by being next to that other person. Again, that's not acceptable. It's not. And so when we look at this, we have to understand when we are dealing with someone who's shallow versus someone with a preference. See, people have preferences. Some people like short women. Some people like tall women. Some people like short men. Some people like tall men. Some people like, heavyset women. Some people like petite women. Some people like heavyset men. Some people like skinny men. I mean, all of that. And so what you can't go and say is, well, I'm petite. You can't discriminate against me because I'm heavy. I'm not discriminating against you. I'm showing preference, or vice versa. You can't say, well, I'm petite. You can't discriminate me because I'm not heavy. Like, no, I'm not discriminating against you. It's a preference, and I have a right to my preference. Everybody has a right to their preference, and it doesn't make you shallow. It just makes you human. I have the right to choose to be with someone who I'm physically, spiritually, emotionally, and psychologically attracted to. And I don't have to sacrifice on any level. In other words, there's probably not going to be anybody, because we're human and we're flawed on some level. And sometimes we might want something that is absolutely idealistic or out of reach. So no, chances are I'm not going to get a person who fulfills every criteria and ideal I've ever wanted in a person, in a woman. But it doesn't mean that I can't get with a woman who has a little bit of everything. And if there's something missing, just like I wouldn't want to be with someone who wasn't spiritually fulfilling or emotionally or psychologically fulfilling, I don't want to be with someone who's not physically fulfilling too. And they have the right to demand the same of me. I can't go to a woman that finds me unattractive and say, well, because I have a lot of great qualities, you should get with me anyway and you should love me from my mind. No, because in relationships, especially in long-term committed relationships, there's going to be a desire for intimacy and passion and lust and desire. And those are things that we can't fake. We think we can fake them, but the people know. People know when they're being placated. People know when they're being pandered to. We know the difference between genuine lust and desire and passion and that fake stuff, because chances are we've either experienced it or at one point given it for whatever reason. So what I'm saying is it doesn't make you shallow to want to be with something you're attracted to. It doesn't make you shallow or empty because you want a physical attraction. It makes you human. So here is the moral of the story. Don't try to get with people and get them to like you. Find people who like you and get with them. But it's a fallacy to say, love me from my mind, because I'm more than just a mental creature. I am a physical, spiritual, and psychological creature, and I want to be fulfilled on some level on all of them. And if we're talking about monogamy and fidelity, it means that you're all I'm going to have for the rest of my life. So why should I give up something that I desire for the rest of my life to be with you? Just like, why would you give up something you desire for the rest of your life to be with me? And I don't mean an unrighteous, selfish, or unholy desire. I'm just talking about basic aesthetics. Like, for instance, when I was growing up, I was a bum. And when I say bum, I don't mean bum like no job. I mean, I just like jeans and sweatshirts and sweatpants. And I would date women and they just like, can you dress a little bit better? Because, you're my man now, and I want something, pretty, not that you're not good to look at, but I want somebody well dressed. And so I would change how I dress sometimes to please a woman, because I knew I was the only man in their life that they were going to get it from on this level. So why would I deprive them of it because I don't like to do it? So that's what I did to bring balance to the relationship. And there's nothing wrong with that, because they didn't ask me to dress up every day, but they're like, dress up sometime, put on something other than sweatpants and sweat tops sometime. And so you don't get the right, no one does, to ask people to give up absolutely on something that they desire or have the preference for just to be with you. Unless, again, it's something, fly by night. Like, say, for instance, I have a preference for yellow shirts and you just refuse to wear a yellow shirt ever. Okay, that's nothing. Who cares? It's a shirt. We can work through it. But not something as dear and close to us as things we find attractive. Think about if someone said, listen, I want you to give up everything you find attractive to be with me. And that attractiveness to be spiritual, physical, mental, psychological. That's not fair. So again, don't try to get with people and get them to like you. Get with people who like you, period. And you don't have the right, I don't have the right, to ask someone to abandon their preference because we have a preference for them. It's selfish and that shallow. You have a right to be with somebody who's willing to be with you, who is attracted to you physically, spiritually, mentally, and psychologically. And I don't have to singularly love you, and no one has to singularly love me for one characteristic. They should love me for all of me. And there should be something pleasing to them. And if not, I don't have the right to demand that they be with me, even though I'm not. Yeah, something to think about. I'm out.